Since I've started talking about the Wurmkin, I have not talked about these two units because they're just that bad. The Glucksider and the Kinghost Carapace, they're just really bad. It's just really bad. Hey guys, welcome back to Monster Train. And before I jump into a game with Wurmkin, I just want to take a video to talk about Wurmkin in general, as a clan in general, and what are the strategies involved with Wurmkin. I think cards that are good, cards that are not so good. Just talk about Wurmkin in general for this video, and then I can go in depth into a game and explain some of my picks in the Covenant 25 run. So as the last video has as I talked about in my last video with the patch update, I said that I didn't mention it in the video, but there was a note on the video that said that the tournament has been moved to June 5th and June 6th, so that gives me some time to really just go through this Wurmkin clan thoroughly in more detail, so that I guess people can learn a little bit about the clan before the tournament comes up. So we go into the let's actually talk about the champions first. So we have the Spine Chief and then Echo. So for the Spine Chief, we have the Decayer, which Inspire applies Reap 2, 3, and 5 to enemy units, as well as his stats changes as you rank him up. The Corruptor, friendly units have +5 attack per. This is the charged Echo. So so for those of you who might not know this, the Wurmkin introduces a couple new resources and a couple new keywords associated with this clan. So only works with the cards from this clan. So we have Inspire, which is triggers when you gain a charged Echo on this floor. So only happens on the floor that the Spine Chief is on, or whatever other minion you have on that same floor with the Inspire keyword. And then Reap is unit takes 1 damage per stack of charge Echo after combat ends. So the Reap, it's Reap 5, or rather Reap 2 is if you have 1 charge Echo and then the enemy has Reap 2, the enemy takes 2 damage. However, if the enemy has Reap 1 and you have 2 charge Echo, the enemy also takes 2 damage. So it's multiply. So essentially it becomes multiplication. So we have the number of Reap on the enemy times the number of charge Echoes you have on that floor. So as we continue to look at this clan, Reap can be a strategy in Wurmkin, and then it can deal a lot of damage. This Spine Chief here, there's a Corruptor here. Friendly units have +5, 10, and 20 damage per charge Echo. So this is really good if you have a lot of charge Echo cards that give you charge Echo, and then there are cards that buff other cards to give charge Echo on those cards, and then you can play those cards to gain charge Echo, and sometimes you can gain a lot of charge Echo, and then sometimes you can even go infinite. this is also a really good strategy. We will take a look at the strategy we can get with the Wurmkin clan later on in the video. And then the third path here is the Infector. The strike gain 1 charge echo, and then instead of strike gaining 2 charge echo and 3 charge echo, we have multi-strike 1 and 2. Essentially, the Spine Chief is gaining 2 and 3 charge echo, but because he has the potential of killing the enemy with his first attack, so it's not really gaining the second charge echo. So so it's not as good as strike gaining 2 or gaining 3 charge echo, but it's like the multi-strike is really valued, and then the multi-strike you can buff him, you can buff him with attack, you can buff him with just a lot of attack. I found that the Spine Chief, if you combine the path, the Infector here is you're gaining charge echo, but in order to use that charge echo, the other 2 paths are actually using that charge echo that you have. Combining the 3 paths together is either like 1 path, 1 level here, 2 levels on the Infector, 2 levels Infector, 1 Corruptor, or 2 Corruptor, 1 Infector. Combining the paths is a really nice way of playing the Spine Chief. Okay, and then we have Acolyte. Okay, first we have Shellsmith, Acolyte Edge. This is another new keyword with the Wurmkin. Triggers when a card is consumed on this floor. So when you're playing with Acolyte, consume cards are really good, and then there are ways to gain that consume card back, like with the repeater here. And then there are also cards in Wurmkin that gets you back the cards that have been consumed. So you can keep on playing those for the edge effect. So we have edge, apply armor 4, 8, and 14. So this is every single card would give you that much armor. And then there's the Marsh Lord, Acolyte. So yeah, Marsh Lord, summon 1 Bog Chrysalis with plus 20 HP. Edge removes 1 shell from eggs. So there are, with the Wurmkin clan, there are eggs in the game. So we have Bog Chrysalis, which is an egg that when with shell 5 that hatch, summon 2 Bogfly units, and shell is at end of turn remove charge echo from the floor to remove shell from the front unit with shell. When no shell is removed, the unit will hatch. So you're trying to put charge echoes on the floor in order to hatch the egg. But with Acolyte, you can actually edge in order to just simply remove the shell from the egg. And then as we rank up, we have the King Host Vessel. This is a shell with shell 8. Summons a King Host Pupa. And then we have summon 1 Bog Deep Cocoon with plus 60 HP. And then Edge removes 3 shells. And then we have Hatch, summon Bog Wormling. We'll take a look at the different units after this. And then the last path is a repeater. So resolve, return random consume spell to your hand. The first 2 paths, the first 2 levels are essentially the same with some stat changes, but the third path I haven't really I don't really think it's that necessary to go for the third path, to go for the third level, but maybe in some cases you can go for the third level. And the third level is return 2 random consumed spells to your hand. So you can keep on getting your spells back in order to play them again, and then so with Wurmkin, you actually want your spells to be consumed so you can get them back really easily, really quickly, and then you can quickly play them again without going through all your deck again. So those are the 2 champions. Personally, because Spine Chief is 3 space large, I don't really like to play with the Spine Chief, but it's the same, similar with the Weldington, but 3 space is at a really bad spot, I think. Because it just the 1 space extra is just really it can be the difference between 1 extra unit and 1 less unit on that floor that you want to play your units on. And then Echo Ride. So Echo Ride is really nice. I really like the Marsh Lord path, and then also with the Shellsmith, you can actually just get armor. You don't really need to worry about sustain anymore. You just get armor. With your, just by playing cards, you get armor, and then you can just focus on trying to get damage on your units, and then trying to scale that damage up. And then that's I think a good segue to the cards, the actual cards. So first, I do want to talk about these things first. These X. This is one of the strategies that is very relevant and very you really want this strategy. It really works. It's a S tier if you're playing with Echo Ride with this Marsh Lord path. So we have Bog Chrysalis, King Host Vessel, and Bog Deep Cocoon, and then we have Accelerated Incubation, which is a rare card, so you can't really get this card that often, but it's a really good card to have if you're playing with X. And then so it removes 3 shells from X. Shell 12 here will go down to 9. 8 will go down to 5, and 5 will go down to 2. And then because if you're also playing with the Marsh Lord path, the edge, because that card has consume, because this card has consume, it'll also edge as well. So so it'll remove 3 from this card, and then it'll also remove another 3 from the Echo Ride effect. So that's a total of 6 already, just from this one single card and the Echo Ride's effect. And as you can see, you can really get your X to pop really quickly, sometimes even on turn 1. Yeah, really quickly. So because these X, the hatch. So one thing here is that the hatch, it also takes in the attack that the egg has. Whatever the hatch is from the egg, it will take in the extra amount of attack and health that the egg has. So So for example, the Echo Ride, we come back to the Echo Ride. For the Bog Chrysalis, plus 28 health. Whatever hatches from the Bog Chrysalis, the two bog flights that come out of this bog chrysalis will have 20 extra attack, 20 extra health, and then 40 and then 60. So that is really nice to have, because sometimes you want to buff the eggs, or you have upgrades on the eggs. So whatever upgrades you have on the eggs, like multi-strike, quick, sometimes I don't think you can have sweep. You can't really have sweep, trample, anything that you buff your eggs with. You can after they pop, whatever comes up will also retain those effects, like multi-strike, trample, quick, etc. Endless. I'm not sure about endless, but yeah, endless not really, because the whatever hatches they're cardless. So cardless is you don't get a card from them. So if they died and they have endless, you don't actually get a card. And then we look at what these actual are. We have bog wormling, trample, edge plus 10. So if you have a bog wormling, even after your egg pops, whatever consume cards you have in your hand will also buff this bog wormling. So that is really good. And this guy has trample, so just trample away. Bog fly, very simple card. Because so this is not as good, but since it is a very starter card, very basic card, it doesn't need to be that good, and so yeah, not too bad, not too OP, but not too bad in general. And then we have here King Host Pupa. Armor 20, multi-strike 1, strike apply reap 1 to enemy units. So let me go to units. So yeah, apply reaps 1, reap 1. It has multi-strike innately. If you have a King Host vessel, if you actually have the card instead of it being summoned by the by your Echo Right, this King Host vessel, you can actually give it multi-strike, and then the King Host Pupa will have multi-strike 2, which attacks 3 times. So that is good. So the more times the King Host Pupa can attack, the more reap will be applied to the enemies, and that can have scaling effects. So now with all of the eggs out of the way, I think that is a very good strategy, but it is very occasional, very situational. You either need Echo Right, or you need a good artifact in the early game, or good cards, or good cards, or good just simply good cards in the early game to work, to make this the eggs work. And in order to gain charged echoes, so we have the Wurmkin. Okay, it's not shown here. I don't know why it's not shown here, but the Wurmkin has a you start a run with with an artifact that gives all your starter basic cards infused. And infused is when you cast it, when you cast it on the floor, you gain a charge echo. So I think there is a spell that has that effect, and then I can just show you guys what I am talking about here. So apply infused to cards in hand. So infused, when played, the current floor will gain 1 charge echo. So every single game you play with, as long as you have Wurmkin, as long as you have Wurmkin, either as your primary or your ally clan, you all your starter cards, like for both clans, all your starter cards will gain infused. So we'll have this infused keyword, and then you can play your starter cards to gain charge echoes on that floor. So that is a steady way, a very basic way of gaining charge echo. There are other ways of gaining charge echoes, like there's a artifact with Wurmkin that box slime here. When a spell with consume is played, gain 1 charge echo. There's this, when your card with extract is played, gain 1 ember and 1 charge echo. There's this down echo, 1 additional card in each draft pack will be infused. So normally, when every time you draft a card, out of the 3 options, 1 option is has the infused keyword in it. It'll be additional. It doesn't matter what clan card it is. At least of the 3 options, 1 will be infused. But this artifact will give another card in that pack infused. And then there's something like this, encased divinity, that it adds a charge echo that cannot be removed. So this is really good for extract. And I thought I should talk about extract. So you lose the charge echo after you play this card. If you cannot, the card cannot be played. So for example, let me go back. For example here. So extract, you lose 1 charge echo. You must have at least 1 charge echo on that floor in order to play this card, and then it is a 0 cost. Apply 10 health. So instead of actually costing ember, this is costing charge echo instead. But ember is a resource that is more valued, I think, than charge echoes, because there are simply a lot of ways to gain charge echo, and I think like these 0 cost cards are very valued. Just simply very valued. You can almost always play them, even though they cost charge echo. As long as you have like plenty of charge echoes in your deck, or ways to generate charge echoes in your deck. Okay. So after, I guess that was a very long segue. So now I should talk about the next strategy, which is what is the next strategy? We have the infused strategy. So we have Shard Soul Carver, or not infused, Inspire. Okay, sorry. Inspire. triggers when you gain a charge echo on this floor, once per charge echo. So if you can gain multiple charge echoes, you can trigger this effect multiple times. We have this, like to be honest, Bogfly is actually really good. It's also sort of part of this strategy. And then we can also use Bog Chrysalis for that, because you can just upgrade the Bog Chrysalis in the Merchant of Steel, and then you can use this effect to gain the Bogfly effect to gain a lot of attack. And then, for example, you put a large stone on this, and then everything will gain 40. Like the Bogflies that get summoned will gain 40 health when they are summoned. And then there's Keeper of Echoes. The Inspire apply 1 attack and 1 health to friendly units. That is okay. Like, to be honest, like, I really value this card a lot, but it is actually not it as long as you have, I mean, you need a lot of Inspire, or you need a lot of Charge Echo cards or infused cards or ways to gain Charge Echo to actually make this good. That I don't think it's that good, because it's starting with only 5 attack and then 20 health, and you need you need to play a lot of cards in order to actually scale this guy up. And then there's the edge effects. Sometimes you don't need, like, even though there are only 2 units that have the edge effect, Glareminder and the First of Kin, they aren't that they don't act as a strategy themselves. You can use these 2 as secondary strategies. So just something to apply, to put on the field as just something nice to have. Because First of Kin Edge has the infuse the unit essence here of Edge plus 5 attack. Because of this effect here, he is really good as an essence card to put on another unit that is trying to scale damage. And then, because there are a lot of consume cards in the Wurmkin, you can actually make this work out even if you're not going with, even if you're not playing with Echo Right. So this can be still very good. And we have Glareminder. Sometimes Glareminder is so, if you're playing with the Spine Chief here, sometimes you can do a full run with Spine Chief, 3 spaces, right? And then just Glareminder in the back. So 1 unit, 1 champion, 1 unit, 1 champion, and then this Glareminder can basically sweep everything. Of course, you have to infuse it with a unit, preferably Shard Soul Carver for damage scaling. So +2 damage and +2 armor. So for the sustain and damage. So that is a really good infusion card. But because the infusion here has +1 space, and space is really needed sometimes, sometimes you might not want this. Instead, you might want the Keeper of Echoes for +5 HP and Inspire +1/+1, or simply go for the Edge edge plus 5 and then just try to look for some ways to gain health. So we have X as one strategy. We have Clearminder, simply can act as a strategy by himself. And then we have Inspires. Inspires, sometimes you can have like a Shard Soul Carver with a lot of multi-strikes, and it can work, but it's not that good. It's not that amazing. Shard Soul Carver and Keeper of Echoes, even though they seem good, they're not as good as people may make them out to be. They're just average cards that they can work in only certain situations. But if you have Clearminder, and I think out of all these units, Clearminder, and it's like S tier, Bog Chrysalis, it can act as A tier by himself. And then for B tier, like Bog Deep Cocoon, these eggs can are like B or C tier, and then they're S tier if you have Echorite, but just normally they're B or C tier units. And then we have like the Keeper of Echoes, Shard Soul Carver, and First of Kin. Those can be like Keeper of Echoes and Shard Soul Carver, they're more like B, C tier. And then First of Kin is like C tier. And then since I've started talking about the Wurmkin, I have not talked about these two units because they're just that bad. The Gluxider and the Kinghost Carapace, they're just really bad. It's just really bad. This guy takes up a whole floor by himself, and he has Extract 4, so you can't. If you don't have enough charge echoes on the floor, if you don't have enough cards to generate charge echoes, you can't even play it when you draw him. So that is the first thing that is bad about this card. The second thing is that you need Inspire on this floor. You need to play Inspire cards on this floor in order to, or infuse cards on this floor to restore health to him. So like if this guy is taking up a space by him, a whole floor by himself, I very much need another floor in order to deal with all the other heavy units that will most likely be going up to a higher floor. So Gluxider, so if you're playing those infused cards, or those cards that give you charge echoes on this Gluxider floor, you're not playing those cards on the floor that actually needs it. For example, you have another floor with Shard Soul Carver, or you have another floor of X, and you want to play those infused cards on the floors with X, but you also want to kill this Gluxider. So there's that dilemma there. So yeah, that is bad. Kinghost Carapace is also really bad because you want to have a lot of charge echoes, but then on turn 1, can you really have that much charge echo? Not really. And then only +10/+10, it's like you're not really getting a lot out of this card. So he doesn't scale by himself, and like you need a lot of charge echoes for this guy to even work out great. And the increase in space is also, you want to play a lot of charge echoes in order for this guy to be as big as possible. But if he is as big as possible, this guy takes up a whole floor by himself, and you can't play any other units on this floor because you have this guy. So that's that's a reason that it is bad. And then there are the spells. So the spells, we have consume spells, we have extract spells. So let's go over the consume spells because these will help with the edge effect. Bounding Echoes, very nice card to apply infuse to all your cards in your hand, and this is a really nice way to gain charge echoes while you're doing something with your cards while also gaining charge echo. That is really nice. And then Soul Siphon is another way to gain charge echoes. So this is a rare card, an uncommon card, so it's less likely that you will get this card, but it is. But you do want to play this without any unit on the floor, without any units, or as the first card to played before your units on the floor to fill up your empty slots with charge echoes. Or you can just play it because you don't really care about Ember Drain, and then because you have the Umbra Pearls of Production, so that is something entirely different. So, and then we have Echo Snare, Hosting Kin, Wurmkin Spike, Power of Knowledge, Soul Cripple. These cards are just simply damage spells that either have consume on themselves or have something to do with consume, like the Power of Knowledge, deal 15 damage for each spell in the consume pile. So this rewards you for putting a lot of spells in the consume pile. And then there are cards such as Ambient Charge, draw 3, apply consume to drawn spells, return soul, return spell card from the discard pile to your hand and apply infuse -1 ember and consume. This is draw spells to give them consume. This is return a specific card to your hand and apply consume to it. And then we have Total Recall, returns 3 random spell cards from the discard pile to your hand and apply consume. So this is random spells, but it can be used effectively if you have extra ember to play the cards. So you can play your cards, and then they're going into your discard pile. You play this card. They come back to your hand, and you can play them again. And the fact that they have consume now means that cards like the Broken Memories return a consumed spell to the top of your draw pile, and Wurmkin Etchings, return 5 consumed spells to the top of your draw pile. These 2 cards can actually help you bring those cards from the consume pile back into your deck so you can actually play them again. This card, this Broken Memories, is really good with Spell Chain. You can also put -2 cost on the Wurmkin Etchings and then Spell Chain on this card to have like a similar effect. But normally you just want the Broken Memories. So Broken Memories, you choose a card to return to your to the top of your deck, and then you play. So you play first Broken Memories. You return whatever card that you want to the top of your deck, and then you play the second copy because you have Spell Chain on it, and then the second copy will return the Broken Memories card back to the top of your draw pile. So yeah, so that is a infinite combo over multiple turns. You can keep on playing these 2 cards over and over again. So over and over again every single turn. So that is really good. And one of these cards that you want to bring back, one of these most valuable cards that you want to bring back almost every single turn, is this Shelter card. Shelter apply 2 armor per charge echo to friendly units. You need, like, even though it's only 2 armor per charge echo, but this can scale up really nicely. So you can gain up to like 16, 18, 20 armor per turn. And if you have Spell Chain, if you have double stack on this card, you can the armor gets more and more. So that is something to keep in mind when you're playing with Wurmkin, and then if you see Shelter, because this is only a common card, you can only get this in the first 2 rings, but I always like to pick this guy up because the sustain is really nice. And then there is the Unearthed Remains. Unearthed Remains, I think it's really nice to have because you gain 1 empty slot. You get to retain more charge echoes every single turn. So for the thing with charge echoes is that every single turn you can't go over the limit, but whatever is exceeding the limit will just get deleted after that turn. However, with this card, Unearthed Remains, you actually get to keep the extra charge echoes. So that can be helpful, just so that you have more charge echoes in reserve. Along with this card, Eternal Kingstone, add 1 charge echo that cannot be removed. So this is really nice to this is a really nice card to keep on playing your extract cards. And this is a segue to extract cards. So extract cards are these here, only 1 page, very nice. So we have enemy chart we talked about. We have Echo Infusion, Echo Transfer, gaining health here, gaining attack here, apply melee weaknesses just for either the mini bosses, Seraph, the last divinity, anything that has a lot of health. Really nice way to do a lot of damage. Proclamation. This is a really nice way to deal a lot of damage in the early game because this 50 damage is a lot, and because he has attuned, because this card has attuned, if you put plus 10 magic power on this from a Merchant of Magic, you actually gain plus 50 damage. So 1 plus 10 magic power will make this guy deal 100 damage. Very nice. Soul Crushing Guild. This and the Perfect Insanity are very nice ways to deal with. Actually, Soul Crushing Guild is a very nice way to daze the last divinity, or Seraph, or any other boss that might be difficult to kill. And you can also put double stack on this card. You give this double stack and -1, so it'll still cost 0, but it'll daze 6 turns. And 6 turns is a lot because you don't even need holdover on this card. You just daze, and then you like 6 turns, right? The last divinity can't hit you for 6 whole turns. You deal with whatever enemies that comes up, and then by the time the 6 turns go by, you probably will draw this card again. And then you can keep on using this. You can use it again to hit the last divinity again. So that is this is a very nice card. Perfect Insanity, very nice for against the mini bosses because because you need extract 6 here. The fact that you get extract 6 is either you have not eternal, not this one. Either you have unearthed remains to gain more slots for your charge echoes, or you just simply brute force it. You have 4. For example, you have 4 charge echoes like in reserve, right? Every single turn you have max charge echoes on that floor, and then you play 1 card, you play a 2nd card, and you play this card, or you have infused on this card. So the way that extract works is if there is infused already on the extract card, the extract card is actually costing 1 less than it says. So for example, you have 4. We'll use a easier example here. So for example, you have infused on the Echo Infusion. If you have infused on the Echo Infusion, you can actually play this card without any charge echoes because it infuses and then it extracts, so those just cancel out. But you also get to play this card, so that helps with the extract, the need for extra charge echoes that sometimes you might not have. So yeah, so if you have infused on this perfect insanity, you only need 5 charge echoes, and then you play this card, and and then you can actually play this card. And we have here Revenge of the Damned, a really nice way to deal with any backlines. Symphony of the Soul, really nice way to gain either rage, regen. Probably rage is most useful buff, I mean. And then armor like it's also really nice because there is the shelter, and then there is for the units the shard soul carver is also really nice. And then you can, like, other clans have armor too, so you can use that for other clans to in combination with other clans units and spells. But the fact that this has extra 5 and also costs 2 ember, it means that it is more situational, and you might want to pick it up if you have enough charge echoes, enough cards to generate charge echoes, and also also have some way to reduce the mana cost. And then there are some other cards that haven't been mentioned. Oh yeah, I didn't mention the 2 starter cards, Fracture and Echo Break. Fracture for the Spine Chief and Echo Break for Echo Right. Fracture, Reap 2. This is really nice for scaling damage. So similar with Frostbite, but this damage can scale really hard. And the Reap is permanent on the enemy unless the enemy has some sort of cleanse with the last divinity, or some way to deal with the Reap. The Reap is always, whatever number of Reap you apply, it is there. It doesn't get reduced at all. Well, it is good, but it doesn't deal direct damage, so you can't really prevent damage to your units with this Fracture card. Well, Echo Break, you can actually it deals direct damage, but it's dealing very low amount of direct damage, and it is based on the number of charge echoes you have. So it can, both of them have their merits, and both of them have their downfalls. And then there is the Ancient Resonant card. So the Ancient Resonant, really nice wave clear card. I think you always want to pick this card up unless there is a better card offered along with this. Better card meaning you need that card in order to make your strategy work, or you need that card in order to like for example, you're offered Ancient Resonance along with Broken Memories, and then you need the Broken Memories because you're running a consume deck. You want the consume cards to come back to your hand, so you want the Broken Memories instead of the Ancient Resonant. Otherwise, Ancient Resonant is really nice because you can buff this card with the plus 30 and plus 10 piercing magic power in the temple, and then you can just play this card on any single floor against any single like large floor that have a lot of minions. You play this card, all backlines die, and then all of the heavy units are weakened, and then it'll relieve a lot of pressure on your units. This is a really good AoE card. I think I've gone through all. Okay, I missed this. Forgotten Trade, really nice way of mana generation or amber generation. Can be, I think, yeah, it can be used with any X cost cards. Wurmkin Spike not so much, but if you're playing with Umbra, Shroud Spike is really nice card to do that with. A Vulcan Rail Spike is really nice. Spike of Hellhorn is really nice. And then the common cards, Holy Shield, Blessed Sword, Gifts of Gratitude maybe. So there is a lot of ways to use the mana generation, and this is I think a easier mana generation than some of the other clans. With all that being said, to conclude, X, Inspire, probably gonna be the Inspire. So X, Inspire, and Glare-Minder. Glare-Minder being a strategy by himself. 3, maybe 2.5 strategies in this clan. Obviously, you have to play alongside your other clan that comes with the Wurmkin, and your other clan will obviously help aid the process of the Wurmkin. Either it'll aid it or it'll be aided by Wurmkin, and there are I believe that the Wurmkin has a lot of good spells. These spells are 0 cost, they're really nice spells, but these units are not so great, but they can be great on some situations. So it is debatable on what to choose, and personally I really like to choose whatever that is not Wurmkin, the other clan. I always like to choose the other clan more than the Wurmkin units, because I just believe that these units are difficult to play. They're very difficult to play with, and they don't scale fast enough. So it's I think it suffers the same problem as Siphon with the Incant. The Incant is every single spell card. These cards, they don't scale nearly fast enough. Unless you have the double Incant ability, they don't scale enough at all. They don't scale fast enough at all. And I believe Wurmkin suffers the same. Shard Soul Cover, this is not very fast. +2/+2, that's not fast scaling at all. But we have Echo Transfer, and then we have other ways to gain damage. You can put for example, you can put a Paraffin Enforcer in the Shard Soul Cover. You can put some of these, a Stygian Incant trigger in a Shard Soul Cover. You can do the other way around. For a Vulcan, your two sweep units are really nice, so you want to maybe put the Shard Soul Cover or the First of Kin or the Keeper of Echoes into those sweep units to scale them up. And then for Hellhorn, you have your Rage Imps. There is a lot of ways in other clans to scale your Wurmkin units. If you want to pick these Wurmkin units up, then be sure to have some ways of scaling and then have some ways of sustain. Right now, I'm more looking at this game as a way of gaining enough attack to kill every single unit, and then gaining enough health so that your units don't die. The two major things to win a run in Monster Train. Yeah, it has been a very long video, over 1 minute, over 1 hour for my recording here. It'll be under less than an hour after I edit some of the stuff out, but it has been a very long video. And be sure to stay tuned for my next video on an actual run with the Wurmkin clan. In-depth explanation of my choices, of what cards to pick up, what cards not to pick up, etc. Happening on the next video. So stay tuned for that, and thank you guys so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and I hope to see you all next video. Peace.